Hi, I'm Laura, and welcome to this edition of Happily Ever After. In this edition, I'm going to be talking about flowers. Flowers are a wonderful way to accent any wedding ceremony. Flowers add color, they add dimension, and they add most of all beauty. Flowers was something I really wanted in my wedding. Unfortunately, flowers can be very expensive. We had chosen a venue with an arch right in front of a body of water, and we were very excited about that. That's not something I had ever expected or planned, but we found a venue that can accommodate us and our guests in a beautiful area outside. I've always dreamed of a garden wedding. And there was a time when we lived in Pennsylvania, I wanted so much to be able to get married in our backyard in Pennsylvania. I was old enough to get married, but it didn't happen. But that dream of getting married in a backyard happened. I just didn't know it'll be over 20 years later in the state of Maryland and specifically in the city of Glen Burnie. So that was something I had not expected. So before the pandemic hit, I had started to visit florists and started to price flowers for my bouquet and the bouquets of my bridesmaids, and learned very quickly that fresh flowers are very expensive, let alone flowers for decorations. So for the decorations of the venue we had selected, I had already made up my mind that I would use artificial flowers to keep the cost of the wedding reasonable because we did not want to break the bank getting married. So when the pandemic hit and shut everything down, it became impossible to visit florists or even go out. But thankfully, because I'm a crafter, I had a box of artificial flowers at the Brown house with all my crafts because I do wreaths. So I went into my craft box and I thankfully had enough flowers in the colors that David and I decided. And there's a whole episode we should talk about colors. And I may have had to buy a few others, but I got the vast majority of my flowers at one of my favorite craft supply stores, the Dollar Tree. Some of you who may be more mature may remember this episode on the Oprah Winfrey Show of a man who decorated his whole home using products from the Dollar Tree, and unless he told you, you would never know. And hopefully that's the same with my bouquet. I did make my bouquet and that of my bridesmaids. And here it is, my bouquet. And we used our favorite colors, purple and blue, which I wasn't sure was going to go together, but it did. And I made this long stem to hold it with, and all this lovely ribbon and butterflies. All this wired ribbon came from the Dollar Tree. And then I also have traditional ribbon, and I bought this years ago. It says Best Wishes Forever. So this actually has writing on it. I love ribbon that has writing on it. You don't see it much anymore. It was very popular about 6, 7 years ago. I used to buy it, and I think I'm almost out. So I bought this ribbon though at the Dollar Tree, but I used to buy ribbon that had Bible verses on it at Easter time. And I thought that was so lovely, but for whatever reason, I guess other people didn't buy it. I don't see it as often as I did about 6, 7 years ago. So I've had this ribbon for a while, but the Dollar Tree usually has the same products year to year. So and just kind of using the different colors, the blue for representing David and the purple representing me, and the colors really did complement each other, which I didn't know they would do. So I love my bouquet. Our photographer Ryan definitely used it. Tammy took her bouquet with her. Maybe she doesn't have it now, but she definitely took it with her, and I hope she liked it. Now this tube is a very thick tube, And I forgot if it's very thick. It was used for something at work and was going to be discarded. So I brought it home, covered it with purple construction paper, and then added the bling. The bling is also from the Dollar Tree. So my friend Veronica, who you'll meet hopefully soon in an upcoming episode, because my jumpsuit was Echo. They didn't call it off white. She said, Laura, put a little bit of white into your bouquet. So you can see it here. I bought these flowers from Michael's, the ones that are a little more white, but everything else came from the Dollar Tree. And the one thing about it, because they were artificial, I didn't have as many problems with bugs, but I made a wreath for Easter and the weather was getting bad and we brought it in and I kept hearing this buzzing sound. There was a bee in my wreath for Easter. So that lets you know, even sometimes the insects are confused. They just see the pretty colors and they're ready to pollinate. So I love my bouquet. We keep it here in the front of the house. And this is a great way for any bride or wedding party to save money on all their expenses for their wedding, and that's having artificial flowers. Do you have to get them from the Dollar Tree like I did? Do you have to make them yourself? No, not necessarily. But I loved making my I love wreaths too. Love making my bouquet, and I love making mine for Tammy. And I wish I could have made more for the rest of my bridesmaids, but Tammy was the only one here in the state. So I'm gonna have to have my bridesmaids join me to talk about our experience and how it was cut short. But we tried to make the best of it. And it was always my dream to have a fresh bouquet. And maybe one day I will. I did talk with a florist in downtown Laurel on Main Street, right across from where I got my dress. And we just sat and talked, and she brought out fresh flowers. It was beautiful. So I was planning to order some flowers for March for when we were going to do our ceremony, and that didn't work out either. So maybe one day I'll have a fresh flower bouquet and be able to wear it with my dress. And maybe one day I'll wear my dress. So I just wanted to share this bouquet and just let you know sometimes things happen in life that don't pan out, or dreams do come true, but in a totally different way than we thought it would. But we have to know that our disappointments don't define us, and it's okay to grieve the loss of something that you were expecting, but you can't stay there. You're letting it go and embracing the new day, the new experience, because it's not the wedding, it's the marriage. But one of the reasons I'm doing this is we're approaching our first anniversary as a new couple, and being newlyweds during the pandemic has also been an experience. And I can tell you this, the number one thing that's important is understanding how important and how precious life is, and how to really listen to one another. And I hope you listen to me right now when I say thank you for joining me, that you're beautiful, more beautiful than the most beautiful flower, and that God loves you just the way you are. So receive his love, and whatever disappointments you may have, whatever hurts, whatever depression or loss, give it to him. He can handle it and he can heal you, just like he's healing me. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.